Hello, dear hearts, and welcome back to the Lola Gets channel where we talk about faith, love, and GLP-1s. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm Nicole, and I thank you for joining me for my first maintenance mindset episode of the new year. So happy new year again to everyone. But before we dive in, I want to first thank you all who have joined me for another episode and who have subscribed to this channel. If you're new here, welcome again, dear hearts. And if you enjoy what you see, please remember to share, like, and subscribe. This channel was created for us to be able to share stories and experiences about life. So I'm glad you stopped by to tune in. And as always, I'm forever humbled and grateful. So first off, this episode is special to me because today I'm talking about the things I didn't expect after losing over 125 pounds. I've been wanting to share this for a while, so bear with me. I would try to keep this as short and concise as possible, but it may run a little long because there was a lot I wanted to talk about. So if I have to break it up, do it in two parts, I can do that too. But basically what I wanted to discuss is basically when you're in, the middle of weight loss, you think the finish line will kind of answer everything. So, you may imagine your confidence, your joy, peace, and certainly, just magically falling into place once the weight is gone, right? So all of those things happen for me. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. But what no one really talks about, I don't feel, is what happens after the loss, like after you've lost all this weight and you're no longer chasing the scale. But what you're learning to do is learn how to live in your new body and your mindset that you're in the new body and then the season that you're in, right? So we're going to talk about it because this is a new space for me because I haven't been in a place where I've been in maintenance before. So it's, had some challenges for me. So I would say one of the biggest surprises for me was how quiet it felt once like the scale stopped dropping, right? So during my weight loss, the scale is like, that trigger, like, oh yes, I'm making that progress. It's going down. I'm doing all those things I need to do. I'm eating right. I'm working out, all of that. Every pound feels like a celebration, right? Everything I put on when it starts to feel a little loose felt good, all of those things, but once I reached maintenance, that thrill of, I'm not really looking at the scale anymore. So that thrill slowed down for me. And honestly, it's still taking me some time to adjust to that feeling of being at a place where I'm happy where I'm at in my weight. I'm no longer trying to lose. I'm trying to just stay steady, right? So it's continuing on with what I've been doing. So it's looking for other ways to track progress when you're just trying to maintain. And that's been the shift for me. So I've had to learn that success wasn't just about losing anymore. It's not about losing anymore. It's more about the stability, waking up, showing up, doing the same healthy things that got me here. And even when nothing is happening that's dramatic, right? Like the scale isn't going down 2 and 3 and 4 pounds. And it's just, I'm just know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing because I'm steady in my weight, right? So that took some time and it's still taking me time to adjust. So maintenance is really teaching me that consistency doesn't clap for you the way that weight loss does. You know how when you're looking at the scale and you're just all excited about what you're doing because you have the proof of your progress, right? And it's shifting that mindset, like, I know that I'm still doing what I'm supposed to do because I'm not gaining, I'm not losing, or I'm staying within my maintenance range, right? But it's basically definitely where I'm really living this transformation life right now. And the work that I put in to get here, almost 2 years on Zepbound, is proof, right? And I'm actually going to talk a little bit about that because I've actually been off of my Zepbound shot for almost 2 months now. So we'll talk about that. But basically, I want to talk to you about how I didn't expect my body to change faster than my mind. You know what I mean? Sometimes it just feels like those things would be in lockstep, but sometimes your mind has to catch up with the fact where your body is or vice versa. So that's kind of been a little shift in what I've been noticing in myself as well. So there are days where I still, reach for clothes that are maybe too big, or still have clothes that are really too big for me to wear. Like I haven't gotten rid of some of them. So those are days where I'm just kind of like, what am I doing with this stuff? Like, so it's also that fear of, am I going to stay here or am I going to gain some weight back? And like I said, I've been off of Zepbound for now 2 months. And my decision was just because I wanted to kind of monitor myself without the shot and see if that regulated like how my hunger was. Like I wanted to kind of really just see, can I do this without the shot, right? And how it's looking. So far I've been doing pretty well. Definitely my hunger has come back a little bit, but not anything that is not manageable. It's not anything that's been, and it's been the holidays, y'all. So I stopped in sometime in November and it's January right now. So it's just been, like I said, about 2 months and I'm still in my range. And so my range really is like 158 to 165 and I'm at 162 and I've been steady between that weight range for the past 2 months. So I don't know if you saw my little intro that it shows like I've been in maintenance for a little bit over 2 months now. So I am happy about that. So, and then there are also days that I catch my reflection and I do a double take, like, is this really me? Like my sister made a comment to me the other day. She was like, oh my gosh, you're so skinny. And it's like, my goal wasn't to be skinny. My goal was to be healthy, but it definitely is something that other people are looking at me and like, you look different, you look good, or even some reactions are not always the best, right? Not always positive to when people aren't comfortable with the way that you change your life around and your body around too. Then there are days too when I don't quite recognize myself, right? Like I'm like, is this really me? Like I'll look at things like parts of my body, like the fact that I can fit my hand around my wrist, like little things like that. Like I've never been able to do that, y'all. So it's looking at things like that sometimes I'm like, Lord, thank you. I thank you for the tools that I've had to help me maintain. I thank you for the fact that I'm able to maintain and keep up, some of the habits that I've built along almost this 2 years. So it's really been a good reflection for me, just reflecting back on what got me here and the things that I need to maintain, need to continue. So again, losing over 125 pounds, it doesn't automatically update your self-image. It didn't for me. And I feel like that's what's taking time, grace, and intention on my part. So maintenance really has forced, me to slow down and learn how to see myself again, not just as someone who lost weight, but as someone who has strength, discipline, and resilience, and praying over the fact that I need to continue in these healthy habits, right? So the other thing I would say I didn't expect, and I mentioned a little bit about this, were other people's reactions to my weight loss. And some celebrated me, like I said, some worried about me. Are you going to keep losing weight? Are you done losing weight? Some people, like my mom was like really worried, like, you're not losing any more weight, are you? Right? And so things like that, or some people question whether or not I've lost too much weight. And some have made my body a topic of conversation in ways I wasn't prepared for. So I had to learn to navigate that and sometimes changing the conversation because my goal wasn't about so much how much weight I wanted to lose. And maybe initially I thought about that, but really what I was thinking about more was I just want to be healthy. I want to get my blood pressure under control. There are a lot of things that run in my family that I want to avoid, and being healthy and eating right is the way a good track to try to be healthy, right? So that was what was really important to me, and that was what was driving me. And I think also maintenance in that regard taught me that not everyone will be comfortable with my growth. And that's okay too, right? Like that's okay if you're not comfortable. It's just having a level of understanding and respect for me, the fact that my goal was to be healthy, right? I'm enjoying the way that I look. I'm not trying to reach for being skinny, whatever that is to some people. Like my goal was, I want to be at a weight where I'm healthy, where I have my blood pressure under control, where I don't have to be in fear of all these other diseases that come, like diabetes and all these other kinds of things that come when you're overweight and you're unhealthy. Even just having a positive self-image of myself, right? Like I'm not as heavy as I was. And I know you saw those intro photos of, I show pictures of how I looked the last 3 Christmas Eves and the last 3 Christmas Day, right? So in the green, that was Christmas Day, and those other photos, it was Christmas Eve. And I did a side by side of how I've transformed and that's just motivation for me of, look how far you've come, right? Like, and you want to keep that. You want to keep healthy. You want to keep growing in that way to maintain your health. And that's really where I'm at right now. And that's what maintenance is looking like for me. So, as it relates to other people, though, I definitely have learned boundaries and how to set them, even setting boundaries with the conversation, right? So I had to learn when to explain and when to protect my peace. And I had to learn to remind myself that my health decisions don't require public approval, right? Like, it's really just what made sense for me in my journey, and only I know that, because I'm the one walking in this journey with my health, right? Amen. Me and God, right? Me and my prayer to God. So really also just eating kind of changed for me emotionally, not just physically. So I didn't expect how emotional eating would feel different in my maintenance journey right now. So, like, for example, like during weight loss, food is structured, there's a plan, a deficit, a focus. In maintenance, food becomes more about fuel and nourishment and then trust, right? So those are things that I really am still working on. Like, I've gotten a dietitian to help me with this nutrition, things to incorporate, like how to incorporate more fiber. I was already hitting the protein. So then I needed to focus more on fiber. I needed to focus more on sleep. So it's certain things that I definitely needed to learn that also contribute to my healthy lifestyle habits. So I learned to eat, maybe every 5 to 6 hours. It keeps me steady. I put reminders on my phone to make sure that I'm eating. And I've learned that hydration is non-negotiable. I've talked about you all about my ER scare and being dehydrated. Definitely don't want any more of those types of scares. Also have to monitor my blood pressure. So I have to watch what I eat as far as my salt intake and all of that, right? So I definitely have to manage certain things to make sure that I stay steady. And I've learned that treats can exist without guilt when they're intentional, right? So I take a plan of when I'm going to eat something sweet when I have those cravings, right? And I don't always stick to it, but I also don't beat myself up if I'm like a little bit off, because I've been steady in my weight loss journey. I mean, with my maintenance journey, okay? So I've been meeting with my doctor and dietitian regularly. So that's helping me understand what maintenance isn't, that maintenance isn't about restriction. It's about sustainability. So eating in a way that supports my body long term, not just to keep the scale going down, because that's not where I am right now. Right now, I'm in a place where I want to stay steady. So, and then my workouts have been consistent throughout. So one of the most freeing surprises for me has been how my relationship with movement has changed. I no longer work out to fix my body. I move to support it, right? And December has been a month where I'm resetting and relaxing. So I have been a little bit lax with my workouts, but I've been, still doing my yoga, still doing my walking pad. I probably need to get back into the strength training and my stepper and things like that. But I have these things, a resistance band, resistance training, all of that stuff that I'm going to pick back up at this new year in January. But definitely took December to rest, relax my brain, relax my mind, and not worry so much about what I'm eating, just keeping that steady. So I've been kind of relaxed, right? Not to the point where I've just lost all my healthy habits, right? It was just really just for me to rest and be thankful, reflecting, and thinking about what my maintenance is going to look like in 2026. So maintenance reframed exercise from basically obligation to now just gratitude, right? It's something that I know that I need to do. So now how do I track success, right? So my maintenance right now looks different than it did when I was, obviously losing weight. I still weigh in weekly, but I really don't live by that number. I track it just to make sure that I'm still within my maintenance range. But I'm also looking at how my clothes fit, my energy levels, how I'm feeling when I do my workouts. My hydration has been good. Am I incorporating my protein and fiber throughout the week? My mental clarity, my anxiety, consistency with habits, like all of these things I take a look at, and I'm trying to learn not to obsess about them, but just to kind of monitor myself. How am I feeling this week? So it's just those mental check-ins, like what does success look like for you in maintenance? It's looking at all of those things and seeing how that alignment is not obsession, right? It's just making sure that I'm aligned with the maintenance track that I put myself on and that I'm not obsessing over it. So, and the diet, like meeting with my doctor, dietitian, has definitely helped me with that. Okay. So I want to share just a scripture, Galatians 6 and 9, just to help with a reflection. And when I said Galatians 6 and 9, and let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. And just to reflect here, I have a devotional also. And this verse really hits differently for me in maintenance because, weight loss felt like the sowing season, but maintenance is feel like the reaping, right? Maintenance is feeling like I'm reaping what I sowed. It's the quiet faithfulness, the daily obedience, the commitment when no one's clapping. God didn't just carry me through the loss. He's teaching me how to steward what I've gained. So my health, my discipline, my confidence, maintenance reminds me that the blessing isn't just the result, it's the responsibility to care for what God has entrusted me with. And my body is a temple, right? Amen. All right. So like I said too, I wanted to just backtrack a little bit because I did mention that I've been off of Zepbound for about 2 months. I do have a box of my 2.5 because I still have the prescription. I still have it as a tool if I need it, but I needed to kind of reset a little bit. And I don't know if this is popular or not. For me, it felt like I needed to reset and just for me, look at how I could do these things without the drug and without the shots every week. And so far, so good, right? And it's only been 2 months. So I know there's a lot of talk about people that just gain the weight right back. But I honestly, after almost 2 years of eating the way that I was eating, I don't see that changing. I do see that I'm able to eat a little bit more, which is good because I'm on maintenance. So I do need to eat a little bit more. Where the drug with the shot was making it a little bit more difficult for me to eat the amount of calories that I needed to eat to maintain. So that's where I kind of backed off of it for a little bit, but I have it in my back pocket if I feel like, my weight maybe gets out of control or my eating strikes back up or whatever happens, I have it as a tool, but it's definitely not a priority right now. My priority is maintaining the habits that I've built while I was taking the shots. So, and just in closing here, I wanted to just, say that this is just the beginning of maintenance mindset. This episode here, I was obviously talking a lot about my journey with Zepbound and how I got to where I got to today. And now we're talking more about, from loss to sustainability, because that's where I am now. I'm learning how to live, not just how to lose. So now I want to hear from you all, right? So what's one non-scale victory you're celebrating right now? It's the new year. What are you looking forward to? What would you say your successes have been in 2025 that you want to carry over into 2026? Or if you're not in maintenance yet, what's one habit you want to carry with you when you get there, right? So drop it in the comments below and let's keep each other encouraged. That is what this is for. Please, again, don't forget to like, to share, to subscribe for more maintenance mindset every week. Until the next time, keep walking in transformation and always stay tuned for more because more is always coming.